Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Spooning with me, Mark Wogan. Today I am here at Pub in the Park, in front of a live audience. Are we having a good time, people? Excellent. Now, as normal, we will be building up to two very special spoons, because those of you who don't know, okay, spooning is about the fact that I believe there is no such thing as a bad ingredient, all right? So prior to my guest coming on, what they do is they fill out a little questionnaire, food loves, food hates, guilty pleasures, that kind of thing. And I build a little menu here, okay? And I feed them this food, but the difference is I feed it to them blindfolded, okay? And our blindfolds are provided by the lovely people at Smug. I've got a few free ones here if you'd like. So who'd like a blindfold? There we go. Blindfold over there. There we go. I'll throw more of those to you later. So who is my guest today? My guest today has spent the last 18 years waking you up on a Sunday morning. Yes, he has been presenting Sunday Brunch with none other than Tim Lovejoy, but today we are very lucky that he's joining us here on a Saturday evening because he's got to get up early tomorrow morning. Will you please put your hands together for Simon Rimmer?
Thank you, Mark. Hello, how are we? This is surreal, isn't it?
Well, what a lot of you don't know is I've actually absconded. This is actually Simon's stage where he's doing Pod in the Park, okay? And we've moved it around a bit, and if you stick around, we'll move it around again, and he'll do his podcast next.
I feel a little bit like, you know, if you move house and you go back to your own house and somebody else has redecorated it, I feel a bit like that at the moment.
Yeah, because behind this delightful backdrop, which I think you'll agree features me a little too often, is Simon's backdrop. So we'll switch it all around afterwards. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my guinea pig for this first ever live one, and we will crack on straight away with our first plate. We don't jump straight into the blindfold. I like to sort of gently ease my guests into a sort of form of abuse, basically. So first up, you answered these questions.
Yes.
All right. These are your food truths under my cloches here. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm just going to take the first one off.
Okay.
I think you'll know exactly what it is straight away.
Oh.
So you said you absolutely love. So when we were talking about food loves, Simon said he loves chilies and onions and all things, because you believe most good recipes start with a chili or an onion.
Yeah, you know, you sort of think if you're making a spaghetti bolognese, it starts with an onion. If you're making a sauce, many of them start with an onion. And then equally with chilies, I think the versatility, so you can roast and fry them, eat them raw, pickle them, you name it, you can do it. And
would you eat a raw onion like that?
No.
No. Would anyone out there eat a raw onion? Hands up who'd eat. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to throw you an onion. Are you ready? Oh, she didn't catch it. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Anyone fancy themselves as a bit of a competitive chili eater? No? There we go. There's a chili for you, madam. Oh, no. Sorry, I hit your friend in the face. But I've made you something special here, Simon.
Oh.
So these are my legendary pickled onions and chilies. Okay.
Nice.
Those are for you to take home or try now, should you wish. I have one of my many spoons here.
So how have you made these, Mark?
So it's a very simple red onion, red chilies, and then it's a mix of vinegar, water, salt, and spices. Does it pass muster that?
Yeah, that's really lovely.
You see? You see? What a lot of people don't know about me is I can actually cook, all right? And all the food today has been prepared by me.
Those are good.
Those are good. Well, those are for you to take home.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
There we go. See, I'm buttering them up early for what's coming soon.
I am very apprehensive about this.
Yes, you should be.
I really, really am. I know the questions I've answered. I also know it's that thing when you sort of think, at the end of the day, also, because I'm a chef, then anything that is there, I should be able to taste and recognize immediately. And I just know in my heart of hearts, I'm going to be at this.
Well, we've had a few other guests, and if you do want to watch other episodes of Spooning that we've done, just search Spooning with Mark Wogan, available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you leave 5 stars and you subscribe. Remember that? What do we do? 5 stars and subscribe. Thank you very much. But you'll be in.
I'm going to steal that line because when we release Pod in the Park, which we're starting to do now, we're stealing that. Ben, my producer's sitting there. We're having that.
Ben, would you like a chili while you're waiting? Go on, there you go. So, Simon, we're going down a slightly different route now, and under this cloche is something you talked quite vehemently about, which is.
Right. So, there are very few things in my life, food-wise, that make me have a violent reaction, make me think, please take that away from me. So, it's tripe, right? So, tripe is disgusting.
Who doesn't like tripe? Can we have a show of hands for... All right.
Everybody.
Let's have a show of hands for people who actually like tripe.
Nobody.
That'll be nobody.
Proof.
Excellent.
Right. So tripe reminds me of being a kid, and my grandma would kind of basically just put vinegar on it and eat it. And it's disgusting because it's the lining of a cow's stomach, and it tastes like the lining of a cow's stomach.
But, I mean, it
stinks, Mark.
It's got a unique aroma in its raw form. Would you even smell
honestly, it is one of those things that really...
Who'd like to... Yeah, you come here, sir, hand that round... No, and just hand that round for people to smell.
See, it does have that reaction. But the whole thing is, the Spanish in particular really, really love it. But I think it is just hideous stuff.
This man's doing an incredible job of getting people to smell tripe.
Yeah.
Is he in sales?
That's not good. It's not good.
Right, so the tripe is having a very, very... All right, listen, you're going to stop getting people to smell the tripe. You're going to drive the audience away. We don't want it back. Here, give it to him. Give it to him. He doesn't want it. Nobody wants the tripe. So
do you like it, by the way, Mark?
I like it. I've got a recipe that I do. I'm just going to put it down there out of nose reach. I've got a recipe I do where you pre-cook it, and then you coat it in gochujang, which is the Korean spices, and then you barbecue it.
Yeah.
I mean, as a foodstuff, it needs an awful lot of help.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I can't believe the way your grandmother used to eat it.
Oh,
that is very challenging.
Hideous.
Now, controversially, you are not mad on garlic.
No. The thing with garlic for me is I don't mind it if it's meant to be there. Right, so if you make me, some comfy garlic or garlic on bread, and it's supposed to be garlic bread, fine. I hate it. If you were to make me a spag bowl, as a simple example, and you overload it with garlic, so it then tastes of a garlic sauce, I just find that it overpowers things. It's too much.
I mean, too much of anything. Is not a good thing.
But people use garlic too much all the time, don't they? So you'll make a sauce, make a tomato sauce, and it's too much garlic in it, so it tastes of a garlic and tomato sauce.
Now, you cook live on TV every Sunday, right? Which is a challenge. And have you ever, in 18 years, put up a dish in front of someone that you know is revolting?
I don't know it's revolting. There's a couple of things that we've done.
Or shouldn't technically be eaten.
Well, so I've had 2 things that have been, in all those years, only 2 things that have been inedible. One was we were doing this little squid dish for Ashley Banjo. And it basically, the end part of it is you put a little bit of chili flakes into it, right? So I'm there cooking away. And in my mind, the stove is on low, but it's actually on really high. Now, if you've ever done it yourself, if you throw chili flakes into a very hot pan, it's like letting cyanide off, right? So the whole studio was literally crying. So we couldn't eat that. So that was number 1. So it was impossible to eat. The other was for Ricky Gervais. We did salt-baked sea bass, right? When you coat sea bass or any fish in a whole load of salt, you bake it so all that moisture goes in and get that lovely flavour. So I'm thinking this is going to be great, blah, 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 blah. As I go to the oven, I'm suddenly aware of the fact that the oven has clearly, like we just lost power before, the power has gone off the oven. So I open up it and all we've got is a pile of salt and a raw sea bass. So they are certainly the worst things.
And you've got Tim Lovejoy with you every Sunday morning. What are his? You've been with that man a long time. You're sort of your TV husband, should we say? What's his worst habit?
Can I only pick one?
All right. His top 3 worst habits.
The thing is with Tim, like, you know, we're like any sort of long-standing couple. I think that you don't know where one ends and the other begins at times. And I think that what we're very bad at is you'll do something in rehearsal. I know it sounds amazing that we actually do rehearse Sunday Brunch, but you'll do something in rehearsal, and then we'll say, well, we'll do that because that'll be funny. And then one of us will forget what we've decided we were going to do. So you'll just get it completely wrong. So I think that his worst habit is probably the same habit as, say, of mine. We're actually not very good at remembering what we've said to each other. So we forget what we're supposed to be doing a lot.
And if you could present Sunday Brunch with anyone else, who would it be?
Apart from yourself, Mark, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a very good...
We can join in our union as the unacceptable face of middle age together.
So the thing is, I think that we've had lots of co-presenters. Tom Allen has co-presented it. He was really brilliant on it. Then Joe Lycett has done it. They're just really, really good people. I think if I could have somebody as a one-off guest presenter anywhere in the world, I'd go for Oprah. Imagine her doing Sunday Brunch.
Imagine Oprah on Sunday Brunch.
She'd
Who
just
would
be
like
incredible.
to see Oprah on Sunday Brunch?
She'd be amazing.
Right. We've got to that time in proceedings, people. I am going to ask my guest to don the blindfold. Now, we had a selection of blindfolds, and Simon has gone for the pink flamingo blindfold. Read into that what you will. But if you would mind putting that on, and then I will reveal to the people watching and the audience what is under this cloche. Don't shout
don't
it out.
make those noises.
Don't shout it out.
I'm scared already.
All right, don't shout it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a little spoonful of this and feed it to you, like you're on the assisted eating ward.
I'm not far off that.
Oh, it's quite difficult to get a small spoonful of this. I'm trying to get it mouth bite-size. Okay, it's quite a big mouthful, Simon, I'm not going to lie. But open wide, here we go. Tell me what textures you're getting, what flavors. Can you actually recognize it? What is it?
So I'm getting sweet and trifly. Something nutty in the background, something cakey in there.
Take the blindfold off, Simon. You've got really close. So it is a proper traditional trifle. Yeah. Now, when Simon answered his questionnaire, trifle was one of the things. You have a bit of a childhood trauma around trifle, don't you?
Well, so when I was a kid, there was one day, and you know when you're a kid and you kind of know you're not feeling well, but you don't quite know why. So I'd gone for something to eat with my mum and my sister, and I remember eating this trifle in a cafe. And then I remember thinking, oh, I suddenly feel really, really ill. And I stood up, and I was probably about 11 at the time, and literally projectile vomited everywhere. But not only that, then the other end also reacted. And so to this day, it's probably the most overwhelming sense of both embarrassment and illness that I've ever had.
And do we think that's going to have the same effect? Because if so, the nearest loos are that way.
We'll find out in 5 minutes.
We'll find out in 5 minutes, which might happen in the middle of Simon's next podcast.
That's a nice trifle, by the way.
Thank you very much. I cooked
very
it myself.
Nice trifle.
Thank you. It's actually an Angela Hartnett recipe. That
is it?
Yeah, using bird's custard.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love bird's custard?
Nothing wrong with that. I like all those tinned rice pudding, tin custard, packet of bird's trifle mix. Happy days.
Yeah, no, lovely.
Yeah.
Now, all chefs have something weird and what I would describe as quite ghetto that they love.
Right.
What, like our host here, Tom.
Yeah.
The great Tom Kerridge. Who doesn't love Tom Kerridge here? Hello? Tom Kerridge, our host? Yes, thank you. He drives around in his car eating peperamis.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we will go to your next spoon. I'm going to move that out of the way.
Right, so,
Right, so
am I uncovered up
on with
again?
the blindfold again,
Okay.
Simon. Now, no cheating. You can't see anything, can
Okay,
you?
no, nothing.
You look lovely in that, by the way.
Thank you. You know what? I feel I need to upgrade my kind of look. I tend to go that sort of middle-aged man plain look.
The smug blindfold is a very fetching blindfold.
Thank you.
It can be used for sleep and whatever else you'd like to do in a blindfold. Right, here we go. So we've got the next. Where have all my spoons gone? There we go. We've got the next spoon. Here we go. I'm just going to get a little of this out.
There is something mildly, weirdly, submissively sexual about this entire podcast, Mark. You are aware of that, aren't you?
This was delicious when I cooked it about 3 hours ago, but here we go. Open wide. What have we got there? Flavors, textures.
So soft and meaty. Oh my goodness. It's really weird when you take away the visual. Even though
that is something, that is a particular dish that you've banged on about a lot, and it is cooked to a certain person's specific recipe.
Oh.
I mean, it doesn't look like it now because it was cooked about 3 hours ago.
Oh my goodness.
Take it off. It's your mother's lasagna.
Oh, that's why, because it doesn't taste like my mum's lasagna.
What do you mean it doesn't taste like your mum's lasagna? I followed the recipe exactly. I looked it up online. I followed it to the letter.
It doesn't have the love in it, Mark.
Oh.
It doesn't have a mother's love.
Au contraire, Simon. I think you'll find there's a lot of love went into that.
But it doesn't have my mother's love for it.
No.
So my mum's lasagna, here's the thing with it. So my mum never liked making a bechamel sauce. So she started using...
Arguably lazy.
Yeah. So she started using cottage cheese in the recipe, right?
Which
now,
is
I know that
controversial.
sounds weird, but there's slight acidity, and that's the difference with it. When you taste it, there's a back flavour of acidity in there, and it works really, really well. And it's one of those things, still now, if I go back to see my mum, and she sort of, if I go for dinner, she will cook that in a minute, and it's just the best. And I've tried to cook it many times, and it's not quite the same thing. And yours is the same. Now I've got to say, yeah, it does. It's really good lasagna, but I don't know what she does. You know, the magic that...
It's that little bit of dust, love dust, sprinkled over the top. Well, Simon, I can't thank you enough for being brave enough to don your pink flamingo blindfold. That is all for this live episode of Spooning with Mark Wogan here at Pub in the Park. Please put your hands together as a sign of appreciation.
Thank you very much.
I hope you've all enjoyed it. I'm going to throw a couple of more free smug blindfolds into the crowd. There we go over there. There we go. For those of you who are still hungry and don't want to eat any of the really lovely exotic food that's on offer here, there is some trifle left and an overcooked lasagna is on offer. But we will be back next week with another very special guest here at Pub in the Park. We are going to be interviewing so many great people over the course of the Pub in the Park series in the summer in Chiswick, in St Albans and Reigate and everywhere. But thank you so much for sitting on our delightful pub tables and subjecting yourself to my first ever live Spooning with Mark Wogan. Thank you to Simon and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.